The door explodes inward. A barefoot woman crashes through, blood streaming down her legs, torn dress, clinging to bruised skin. Rain pours off her like the sky itself is weeping. 20 bikers freeze mid-drink. Most look away. One old man rises from his corner booth, worn leather vest, faded patches. He crosses the room in 4 strides, stops 3 feet from her. Close enough to hear, far enough not to trap. His voice comes out like gravel and gunpowder. 4 words. Who hurt you? Her knees buckle. He catches her before she hits the ground. Subscribe now and follow this story to the end. Comment your city below. Let's see how far this journey reaches. She weighed nothing. Thunder Mason held her against his chest while her whole body shook. Sobs tore out of her throat like they'd been locked inside for years. His leather vest was already soaked through, but he didn't move, didn't speak. Just held on. I got you, he finally said. You hear me? I got you. She pulled back, looked up at him with eyes that couldn't stop moving, scanning, checking the door, the windows, his face. They're coming. Her voice was raw, shredded. Please, they're coming for me. Who? The Foundation. She choked on the word. They'll kill me. Hey. Thunder gripped her shoulders, firm but gentle. Look at me, right here. Nobody's killing anybody tonight. Not while I'm breathing. Behind him, chairs scraped against wood. Bear was already moving toward the door. 300 pounds, gray beard to his chest, hands like sledgehammers. Duke reached under the bar. His fingers found the shotgun he kept there for emergencies. Spider pulled out his phone, started typing. Thunder shrugged off his vest and wrapped it around her shoulders. She grabbed the leather like a drowning woman grabbing rope. Name? He asked. What? Your name? What is it? Sophie. She swallowed hard. Sophie Reed. All right, Sophie. I'm Thunder. The big guy's Bear. Man behind the bar is Duke. He pointed to each one. You're in the Iron Horse. My bar. My rules. And rule number 1 is nobody gets taken from here, against their will. Sophie stared at him. Why do you care? Thunder's jaw tightened. Because somebody should. He guided her toward his booth, the same cracked vinyl seat he'd claimed every Friday for 18 years. She left bloody footprints on the wooden floor. Sit, breathe, then talk. Duke brought water. Sophie's hands shook so bad she couldn't hold the glass. Thunder took it from her, held it to her lips. Small sips. She drank, coughed, drank again. Okay. Thunder set down the glass. Start from the beginning. 8 months ago. Sophie's voice came out hollow, empty. I was at Eastern Kentucky, nursing major. I was good at it. Helping people made sense. Life didn't, but helping people always did. What happened? Woman found me outside the library. Expensive suit, perfect hair. Said she worked for a modeling agency in Louisville. Said I had the look they wanted. And you believed her? No. Sophie laughed, bitter sound. I told her no 5 times. But she kept coming back, kept raising the offer. $25,000 for 1 weekend. Said I could change my whole life in 2 days. Thunder waited. My mother's sick, heart condition, needs surgery. Insurance won't cover half of it. Sophie's eyes filled with fresh tears. $25,000 was enough to get her on the list, so I said yes. What happened after? They picked me up at my apartment. Nice car, nice driver. Everything felt professional. Sophie's hands twisted in her lap. They took me to this beautiful house outside the city. Told me to sign some paperwork. I didn't read it. I was too excited to. You weren't stupid. They're professionals. They took my phone, my ID, my passport, said it was protocol, said I'd get everything back after the first job. Sophie's voice cracked. There was no job, no photo shoot, just a locked room and a man who told me I now belonged to them. Thunder's fist clenched under the table. He'd heard stories like this before. Different details, same horror. How many others? 14. There were always 14 of us. Sometimes girls would disappear, but new ones would show up the next day. Always 14. Where'd they keep you? Different places. We never stayed anywhere more than a few weeks. Hotels, private houses, once a yacht. Sophie shuddered. They drugged us before parties. Rich men, powerful men. Politicians, businessmen. We never remembered what happened, but we'd wake up with bruises, with marks, with... She couldn't continue. Bear spoke from the door. How'd you get out? Sophie flinched at his voice, but when she looked at him, something in his weathered face made her keep talking. Tonight they were moving us, all 14, in a van. I heard the driver on his phone. Her voice dropped. He said Mexico, said once we crossed the border there'd be no coming back. So you ran. Driver took a curve too fast. I threw myself against the back doors. The lock broke. I hit the ground rolling. Sophie touched her shoulder. They shot at me. I just kept running, saw lights through the trees, ended up here. Thunder reached across the table, gently pulled down the collar of his vest she was wearing. A bullet graze sliced across her shoulder. Shallow but angry red. Duke, first aid kit. Already on it. Spider appeared at the booth. His face had gone white. Thunder, you need to see this. Talk. That foundation she's talking about. I've been tracking them 3 years. Shell companies' fake addresses. Could never pin down who was running it. He turned his phone screen toward Thunder. Until now. Thunder looked at the name on the screen. His blood went cold. You sure about this? Positive. Bank records, property titles, phone logs. It all leads back to him. Who? Sophie asked. Thunder's voice came out flat. Senator Clayton Mercer. The name landed like a grenade. Duke stopped moving. Bear turned from the door. Even the jukebox seemed to go quiet. The senator. Sophie's face went pale. He was at one of the parties. I remember him. He was... She covered her mouth. Oh, God. Easy. Thunder reached for her hand. You're safe here. No. Sophie shook her head violently. You don't understand. He's not just a client. He owns the operation. All of it. The foundation is his. We're his. Spider nodded grimly. She's right. The trafficking runs through his estate. Girls get processed through his private events, then shipped out through his charity's supply chain. Charity, Bear growled. Children's Foundation. Uses shipping containers for donations, except the containers aren't carrying toys. Thunder stood. His knees popped. He didn't notice. The other girls, the ones still in the van, where are they taking them? Mercer's estate. Sophie's voice shook. Tomorrow night he's hosting a charity gala. Big donors, important people. After midnight, they move the girls to the containers. By sunrise, we'd be on our way to Mexico. She looked at her bloody feet. I was supposed to be with them. Now they'll just find 14 other girls to take my place. Thunder checked his watch. Almost midnight. 20 hours. Until what? Duke asked. Until those girls disappear forever. The room fell silent. Thunder looked around at his brothers. 12 men in worn leather. Gray beards, scarred knuckles, eyes that had seen too much and forgotten how to look away. We ride. Thunder. Bear stepped forward. Mercer's got money power, private security. We hit his estate, we're declaring war on a sitting senator. So we need to think this through. I have thought it through. Thunder's voice went hard. 14 girls are locked in a van right now. Scared. Drugged. Waiting to be shipped out of the country like cargo. I'm not going to sit here drinking coffee while that happens. What's the play? Thunder turned to Spider. Estate layout security protocols entry points. I need everything in 1 hour. Already working on it. Bear, call your nephew, David. He's FBI Thunder. We bring feds into this, we're going to need backup. The kind that keeps us out of prison when this is over. Bear hesitated, then nodded. Pulled out his phone. Duke, weapons. Nothing traceable. Got a locker in Lexington. Rifles, handguns. Enough to outfit a small army. Good. Thunder looked at the younger members. Crow Tommy. First watch outside. Anyone on comes near this bar, I want to know about it. They moved without question. Raven emerged from the back. Mid-50s silver streaks in black hair. She'd been with the club longer than most, survivor of her own nightmare 20 years back. Take Sophie upstairs. That wound needs cleaning. Find her some real clothes. Raven nodded, extended her hand to Sophie. But Sophie didn't move. You're really going to do this? She asked Thunder. Go up against a senator for people you don't even know? Yeah. Why? Thunder was quiet for a long moment. The whole bar waited. 18 years ago, I had a daughter. Rachel. 31 years old. Married to a man I thought was decent. Thunder's voice dropped. Took me too long to see the signs. Too long to ask the right questions. By the time she finally told me the truth, she'd convinced herself nobody would believe her. That she deserved what was happening. What happened to her? I buried her 3 months later. Sophie's breath caught. Since then, I made a promise. Every time I see that look, fear mixed with hope, that maybe, just maybe, somebody might actually help, I don't ask the wrong questions. I don't waste time doubting. I just act. Thunder met her eyes. You walked through that door tonight looking for help. I'm not going to turn you away. Tears slid down Sophie's cheeks. I don't know how to thank you. Don't thank me yet. We haven't done anything. Thunder nodded toward Raven. Go get cleaned up. Rest if you can. Tomorrow's going to be long. Sophie stood, took Raven's hand. At the stairs, she stopped. Looked back. Thunder. Yeah. My grandfather. He died when I was 12. Her voice broke. Tried to protect me from my stepfather. Took a beating that killed him. You remind me of him. She disappeared up the stairs. Thunder stood frozen. The words hit him like a fist to the chest. Bear moved to his side. You okay, old man? No. Thunder sat down heavily. But I will be, after tomorrow. His phone buzzed. Clara. Hey. Frank Morrison, you want to explain why Bear's wife just called, asking about some kind of rescue mission? Thunder smiled despite himself. 25 years married, and she still used his full name when she was worried. We got a situation. I heard. How bad? Bad enough. Going to need the spare room ready? Yeah. How old is she? 21. Clara was quiet. Then, I'll put fresh sheets on the bed. There's soup in the freezer. I love you. I know. Now stop being sentimental and go save those girls. She hung up. Spider dropped into the seat across from Thunder. Laptop open. Got the blueprints? Show me. Mercer's estate filled the screen. 15 acres. Main house, guest cottages, pool house. And underneath it all, 3 levels of underground wine cellar. That's no wine cellar, Thunder said. Nope, Spider zoomed in. Soundproofed, climate-controlled independent power supply. This is where he keeps the girls during events. How do they move them out? Tunnel runs from the cellar to the service road. Catering trucks park there during galas. Girls go into containers marked as donated goods. Security. Private firm. 12 guards on normal days, during events that triples, when cameras everywhere. But Spider pulled up another file. Head of security is Marcus Cole. Ex-military. Dishonorable discharge. 3 outstanding warrants. For what? Assault, aggravated battery, and a sexual assault charge that disappeared when the witness suddenly recanted. Thunder's eyes narrowed. He's the one running the muscle. Probably drove the van tonight. Probably one of the shooters. Good. Now I know who I'm looking for. The front door banged open. Crow rushed in, rain streaming off his jacket. Company, 3 black SUVs, main road, half-mile out, headlights off. Every man in the room moved at once. Duke grabbed his shotgun. Bear pulled a pistol from his waistband. Thunder checked his .45. They tracked her. Spider's face went pale. She must have a chip. Some operations inject GPS trackers under the skin. Can you jam it? Not without equipment I don't have. Then we move her. Thunder was already heading for the stairs. Now! He found Raven in the hallway. Sophie behind her wearing borrowed jeans and a flannel shirt 3 sizes too big. They're here. Thunder pressed his truck keys into Raven's hand. Back road through Miller's property. Cut your lights past the bridge. Clara's waiting. What about you? We're going to buy you some time. Sophie grabbed his arm. Marcus is out there. He doesn't negotiate, doesn't threaten, he just kills. Then he's going to be disappointed tonight. Raven pulled Sophie toward the back stairs. She fought it. Why are you doing this? You could die. All of you could die. For what? For strangers. Thunder looked at her. Really looked at her. Saw the terror, the confusion, the tiny spark of hope she was trying so hard to kill before it could hurt her. Because that's what family does. Sophie's face crumbled. I don't have a family. You do now. Thunder nodded toward the stairs. Go. We'll find you when this is over. Raven finally managed to pull her away. Thunder watched until they disappeared around the corner, then headed back down. His brothers were waiting. How many? Thunder asked. 8 confirmed. Could be more in the vehicles. Weapons. At least 6 rifles. Handguns on every one of them. Great, Thunder cracked his neck. I was hoping for a challenge. He walked toward the front door. Thunder. Bear grabbed his arm. You can't just walk out there. They'll gun you down. They won't. How do you know? Because they want Sophie alive. Dead men can't tell them where she went. Thunder smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Besides, I want to meet this Marcus Cole, see what all the fuss is about. He pushed through the door before anyone could stop him. The rain had slowed to a drizzle. 3 black SUVs sat in the parking lot, arranged to block every exit. 8 men stood in formation. Armed. Waiting. In the center, a tall man with a shaved head and a scar pulling his face into a permanent sneer. Marcus Cole. Thunder walked toward him like he was taking a Sunday stroll. You lost friend. Marcus didn't smile. I'm looking for a girl, 21 years old, blonde hair. She took something that belongs to me. Lot of girls in this world. Going to need more details. Don't play stupid with me, old man. We tracked her here. We know she's inside. Then your tracker's broken. Nothing inside but a bunch of old bikers drinking away their Friday night. Marcus's eyes went cold. Hand her over now, or I burn this bar to the ground with everyone in it. Thunder tilted his head. You know who we are? I know exactly who you are. Road kings, bunch of grandpas who think leather vests and loud motorcycles make you dangerous. Marcus laughed. This is my territory now. My operation. My rules. And rule number 1 is nobody takes what belongs to me. She's not property. Everyone's property. Just depends on who's holding the leash. Marcus stepped closer. Last chance. Where is she? Thunder stared at him. Didn't blink. Didn't flinch. You know what I did before I started this club? Don't care. I was a tunnel rat. Vietnam, 1969. Thunder's voice went flat. You know what a tunnel rat does. Crawls into underground bunkers with nothing but a flashlight and a pistol. Kills everyone inside. Crawls back out covered in blood and dirt and other men's brains. Marcus's smirk flickered. I've killed more men than you've ever met. I've survived things that would break your mind just hearing about them. And I've spent the last 50 years protecting people from predators like you. Thunder stepped closer. Their faces were inches apart now. So when you threaten to burn down my bar, hurt my brothers, take a woman under my protection, understand something very clearly. What's that? You're not the scariest thing in this parking lot. I am. And the door behind Thunder opened. Bear stepped out. Then Duke, then Crow Tommy, and every other member. 12 men in worn leather shoulder-to-shoulder rain dripping off patches and scars and knuckles that had forgotten how to be soft. Marcus looked at them, looked back at Thunder. This doesn't change anything. Yeah, it does. Mercer will hear about this. He'll send more men, more resources. You can't protect her forever. Don't need forever, just need until tomorrow night. Marcus frowned. What happens tomorrow night? Thunder smiled. You'll find out. Marcus stared at him for a long moment, then turned and walked back to his SUV. 24 hours, he called over his shoulder. Then we're coming back, and we won't be asking nicely. The SUVs backed out, disappeared down the road. Thunder watched until their taillights were swallowed by the darkness. Well, Duke exhaled. That was fun. He'll be back. Bear crossed his arms. With more guns. I know. But Thunder turned to face his brothers. That's why we're not going to be here when he comes. Where are we going to be? Thunder's eyes hardened. The same look he'd worn in the jungle 50 years ago. The look that kept him alive when better men died. Mercer's estate. Finding those girls. Burning his operation to ashes. He cracked his knuckles. And Marcus and I are going to have a conversation. The kind you don't walk away from. He headed back inside. His brothers followed. The clock on the wall read 12:47 a.m., 19 hours until the gala. 19 hours until those girls disappeared forever. 19 hours to plan the impossible. Thunder poured himself a cup of cold coffee and sat down in his booth. He'd done impossible before. Time to do it again. His phone buzzed. Text from Raven. Sophie's safe. Clara has her. But she won't stop crying. Keeps saying she doesn't deserve this. That she's not worth dying for. Thunder stared at the message. Then typed back. Tell her everyone's worth dying for. That's the whole point. He set down the phone. Looked at the bloody footprints still visible on the wooden floor. Somewhere out there, 14 girls were locked in a van, waiting for a nightmare that would never end. Somewhere out there, a senator was sleeping peacefully, confident his money made him untouchable. Somewhere out there, Marcus Cole was already calling for reinforcements. And somewhere out there, Sophie Reed was finally learning what it felt like to be protected. Thunder finished his coffee. Tomorrow, he would go to war. Tonight, he would plan. And pray that this time he wouldn't be too late. Spider's laptop cast blue light across the faces of 12 men who hadn't slept. 3 a.m. The Iron Horse had gone quiet. No music, no clinking glasses, just the hum of the computer and the weight of what they were planning. This is suicide. Duke said it first. You all know that, right? Nobody answered. Thunder leaned over the laptop, studying the estate layout. 15 acres, 3 security checkpoints, cameras covering every inch of ground. Where's the weak point? Spider zoomed in on the northeast corner. Service entrance. Catering trucks use it during events. Security's lighter there because staff are coming and going all night. How light? 2 guards, maybe 3. What about the tunnel? Runs from the basement to the service road. 300 yards. No cameras inside, but there's a biometric lock at both ends. Bear grunted. So we need someone's fingerprint. Or their whole hand. Spider shrugged. Either works. Thunder straightened up. His back popped. 71 years of abuse catching up with him. What about the girls? Where exactly are they kept? 3rd level down. The blueprints call it wine storage, but the ventilation system is way too advanced for bottles. Spider pulled up another schematic. 14 individual rooms, reinforced doors. Electronic locks controlled from a central security station. Which is where? Main house, 1st floor, east wing. Thunder did the math in his head. Hit the security station. Kill the locks. Get to the basement. Extract 14 girls. Get out before Mercer's army closed in. 20 minutes. Maybe less. We need a distraction. I've got an idea about that. Crow spoke up from the corner. Young guy, 32 explosives expert before he patched in. Mercer's got a propane tank farm behind the guest cottages. Industrial size. 1 spark and the whole thing goes up. That'll bring fire departments, police, everyone? Exactly. Crow grinned. Chaos is our friend. Thunder nodded slowly. Tommy, you're with Crow. Set the charges, but don't blow anything until I give the signal. What signal? You'll know it when you hear it. Bear crossed his arms. We're still outgunned, Thunder. Even with a distraction, Mercer's got 30+ armed guards during events. We've got 12 guys with bad knees. 13. Everyone turned. David Chen stood in the doorway, FBI badge hanging from his neck. Bear's nephew, 45 years old, with the tired eyes of a man who'd seen too much government corruption to believe in the system anymore. Uncle Bear called. David stepped inside. Said you're planning something stupid, something necessary. Same thing in your world. David pulled up a chair, sat down heavily. Senator Clayton Mercer. You know I've been investigating him for 4 years. Spider mentioned. Every time I get close, evidence disappears. Witnesses recant. Judges throw out warrants. David's jaw tightened. Last year I had a survivor ready to testify. 22 years old. Brave as hell. Week before the grand jury, she vanished. Never found the body. Thunder felt the words land in his chest. So help us. I can't officially sanction anything you're planning. I'm not asking for official. David was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled a flash drive from his pocket, slid it across the table. Security protocols for Mercer's estate. Guard rotations, communication frequencies. Everything my surveillance team has gathered. He met Thunder's eyes. I was never here. We never spoke. And if this goes sideways, I don't know any of you. Understood. One more thing. David stood. There's a rumor Mercer's got someone inside local law enforcement. High up. So whatever you're planning, don't trust anyone with a badge. Including you. David smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Especially me. He walked out without looking back. Bear exhaled. Well, that was unexpected. That was necessary. Thunder grabbed the flash drive. Spider, get this loaded. I want to know everything on it. Thunder's phone buzzed. Raven. How is she? Sleeping. Finally. Clara gave her something to help. Raven's voice was low. But Thunder, there's something you need to know. In what? I checked her shoulder. The bullet graze was shallow, but there's something else. Scarring. Old scars, cigarette burns, knife marks. This girl's been through hell long before the Foundation got her. Thunder closed his eyes. How bad? Bad enough that I almost threw up. And you know what I've seen. She say anything about it? No. And I didn't ask. But whoever did that to her, it wasn't recent. Some of those scars are years old. Thunder thought about what Sophie had said. Her grandfather dying when she was 12. The stepfather he tried to protect her from. Thanks, Raven. Keep her safe. Always. He hung up. Duke was watching him. Problem. Nothing new. Just confirmation that the world is exactly as ugly as we thought. So what's the plan? We hit the estate tomorrow night, during the gala. And if Mercer's not there, if he got tipped off? Thunder shook his head. He'll be there. Men like Mercer don't miss their own parties. They need to see people bow to them. Need to feel powerful. That's what makes them vulnerable. Bear nodded. Pride. Exactly. Spider looked up from his laptop. Got something interesting. Mercer's guest list for tomorrow night. Anyone we know, 3 state senators, 2 congressmen, the mayor of Lexington, chief of police. David was right. He's got cops in his pocket. It gets better. Spider turned the screen. Guess who's providing security for the event? Thunder looked at the name. His blood went cold. Cole Security Solutions. Marcus Cole's company. So Marcus isn't just Mercer's muscle. He's his official security contractor. Everything legitimate on paper. Smart. Thunder's jaw tightened. Makes it easier to hide the bodies. Bear's phone rang. He answered, listened. His face changed. When? He stood up abruptly. How many? Pause. Okay, we're coming. He hung up. What? Thunder demanded. Raven, someone just drove past your house twice. Slow. Taking pictures. Thunder was already moving. Everyone stays here. Bear, you're with me. Thunder. Now! They hit the parking lot at a dead run. Thunder's Harley roared to life. Bear was right behind him. The roads were empty at 4 a.m. Thunder pushed the bike harder than he should have. Took curves too fast. Didn't care. Clara was at that house. Sophie was at that house. And Marcus Cole had found them. They pulled into the driveway with a spray of gravel. Thunder was off the bike before it stopped moving. His .45 was in his hand without thinking about it. The front door opened. Clara stood there, shotgun in her hands, face like stone. They're gone. What? Drove past twice. Third time they slowed down like they were going to stop. So I fired a warning shot. They left. Clara lowered the gun. Sophie's in the panic room. Raven's with her. Thunder grabbed Clara's shoulders. You okay? I'm fine. Been dealing with worse than suburban thugs since before you met me. She touched his face. But Frank, that girl, she woke up screaming. Didn't know where she was. Took Raven 20 minutes to calm her down. I'm going to end this. Tomorrow night. I know. Clara's eyes were steady. Just make sure you come home. I will. Promise me. Thunder pulled her close, held her tight. 25 years of marriage in that embrace. I promise. He went inside, down the hall to the reinforced closet they'd converted into a panic room 10 years ago. Never thought they'd actually use it. Raven opened the door. Behind her, Sophie sat on a small cot, knees pulled to her chest, eyes red from crying. Hey. Thunder crouched in front of her. You're okay. They're gone. They found me. Sophie's voice was hollow. They'll always find me. The chip. Spider's working on a way to jam it, and tomorrow night this is over. All of it. You can't promise that. No, but I can promise I'll die trying. Thunder took her hands. They were ice cold. You trust me? Sophie stared at him. Something shifted in her eyes. I don't trust anyone. Good. Don't. Trust is earned. Thunder squeezed her hands. But let me earn it. Give me until tomorrow night. If I haven't gotten those girls out by sunrise, you can run again. I won't stop you. And if you do get them out, then you come home with me. For real. No more running. No more hiding. Thunder's voice was rough. Clara and I never got to see Rachel grow up. Never got to see her graduate or get married or have kids of her own. We lost all of that. But maybe... He stopped, started again. Maybe we could have a second chance. With you. Sophie's face crumbled. You don't even know me. I know enough. I know you jumped out of a moving van to save yourself. I know you came to a bar full of strangers and asked for help. I know you've survived things that would have broken most people. Thunder released her hands. Stood. That's enough for me. Sophie was quiet for a long time. My grandfather used to say something. Before he died. Her voice was barely a whisper. He said the world is full of two kinds of people. The ones who break you, and the ones who help you put the pieces back together. Smart man. He was. Sophie looked up at him. I think maybe you're the second kind. I'm trying to be. Thunder turned to Raven. Stay with her. Bear's outside. Anyone comes near this house, shoot first. With pleasure. He walked back to the living room. Clara was waiting. She okay? She will be. Thunder kissed her forehead. Lock everything. Don't open that door for anyone but me. What are you going to do? Something I should have done hours ago. He walked out into the darkness. Bear was waiting by the bikes. Where to? Thunder's eyes were cold. Marcus wants to play games. Let's play. You know where he is? Spider tracked his phone. He's got a safe house outside of town. Warehouse district. That's enemy territory. Good. Thunder mounted his bike. I'm tired of playing defense. They rode through empty streets. Dawn was still hours away. The world felt suspended. Waiting. The warehouse district was a maze of abandoned buildings and rusty fences. Marcus's safe house sat at the end of a dead-end road. 2 SUVs parked outside. Lights in the windows. Thunder killed his engine a block away. How you want to do this? Bear asked. Walk in the front door. That's your plan. Marcus thinks we're scared. Thinks we're hiding. Let's show him different. They approached on foot. No attempt to hide. When they were 50 yards from the building, a door opened. 2 armed men stepped out. That's far enough. Thunder kept walking. I said that's far enough. I heard you. Thunder didn't slow down. Tell Marcus that Thunder wants to talk. Just talk. If he's man enough. The guards exchanged looks. One disappeared inside. The other kept his gun trained on Thunder's chest. A minute passed. 2. Then Marcus Cole emerged. He looked different in civilian clothes. Less like a soldier, more like a businessman. But those eyes were the same. Cold. Calculating. Empty. You've got balls, old man. Walking into my territory. Had to see what all the fuss was about. Thunder stopped 10 feet away. Nice place. Very temporary. What do you want? Same thing you want. A deal. Marcus laughed. You want to make a deal after threatening me in your parking lot. That wasn't a threat. That was a warning. There's a difference. Enlighten me. A threat is what you say when you're scared. A warning is what you say when you know exactly what you're capable of. Thunder's voice dropped. I'm not scared of you, Marcus. Not even a little. Marcus studied him. The girl. Where is she? Safe. I need her back. Tonight. Non-negotiable. Why Mercer's got 13 others. What's one more or less? Because she's seen things, heard things. She can identify clients, politicians, people with power. Marcus stepped closer. Sophie Reed is a loose end, and I don't leave loose ends. Neither do I. So we're at an impasse. No. Thunder shook his head. We're at a crossroads. You can walk away right now. Leave this town. Forget about Sophie. Forget about me. Or tomorrow night I'm going to destroy everything Mercer has built. I'm going to rescue those girls, and I'm going to kill anyone who gets in my way. Thunder's eyes locked onto Marcus's. Including you. Marcus was silent for a long moment. Then he smiled. You're serious. As a heart attack. You know I was Special Forces 3 tours in Afghanistan. Classified operations in 6 countries. I've killed men with my bare hands in places you can't even pronounce. I was a tunnel rat in Vietnam. I killed men in the dark with nothing but a knife and sheer goddamn stubbornness. Thunder didn't blink. You want to compare body counts? Let's compare, but I promise you won't like the numbers. Something flickered in Marcus's eyes. Not fear, but recognition, the look of one predator acknowledging another. Walk away, Marcus. There's still time. I can't. Why not? Because Mercer owns me, same as he owns those girls, same as he owns half the politicians in this state. Marcus's voice changed, just slightly. You think I like this? You think I enjoy trafficking women? I think you do it anyway. That's all that matters. You don't understand how deep this goes. Mercer's got connections to people who make senators look like mall cops. You take him down, they'll come for you, for your family, for everyone you've ever loved. Let them come. Marcus shook his head. You're either the bravest man I've ever met or the dumbest. Probably both. Thunder turned to leave. Thunder. He stopped. That girl, Sophie. Why do you care so much? She's nobody, just another broken kid from a broken system. Thunder looked over his shoulder. Because 30 years ago, someone said the same thing about my daughter, and I believed them. I looked away, told myself it wasn't my problem. His voice cracked. She's dead because I didn't act, because I was too scared to see what was right in front of me. And you think saving Sophie will make up for that? No, nothing will make up for that. Thunder started walking again. But I'm done looking away. That's the only redemption I've got left. He didn't look back. Bear fell into step beside him. That went well. It went exactly how I expected. He's not going to back down. I know. Thunder reached his bike. That's why tomorrow night one of us is going to die. You okay with that? Thunder thought about Clara, about Rachel, about Sophie's face when she asked if she could trust him. I made my peace with dying a long time ago, Bear. Only thing that scares me is dying without finishing what I started. They rode back to the Iron Horse as the first gray light of dawn touched the horizon. The club was waiting. 12 men who hadn't slept. 12 men who knew what was coming. Thunder walked to the front of the room. Everyone knows the plan. Everyone knows the risks. What we're doing tonight could get us killed, could get us thrown in prison for the rest of our lives. He looked at each face. Anyone wants out, say so now. No shame. No judgment. Nobody moved. All right then. Thunder nodded. Get some rest. Eat something. Call your families. Why? Tommy asked. Because tonight might be the last chance you get. The room went quiet. Duke spoke first. My daughter just had her first kid. 3 weeks ago. Little girl named Rose. Then you've got something to fight for. What are you fighting for, Thunder? Thunder thought about the question. really thought. "Second chances," he finally said. "For all of us." He walked to his booth, sat down, closed his eyes. In 6 hours, they would ride. In 12 hours, they would attack. In 24 hours, this would be over, one way or another. His phone buzzed. "Sophie. I remember something about the estate. There's a back way into the basement, through the old coal cellar. They don't use it anymore. Probably don't even remember it exists." Thunder stared at the message. "How do you know this?" "Because that's how I almost escaped once. 3 months ago. Got halfway to the fence before they caught me. Why didn't you tell me before?" A pause. Then, "Because I didn't trust you. I do now." Thunder smiled for the first time in hours. Maybe they had a chance after all. The coal cellar changed everything. Thunder spread Sophie's hand-drawn map across the table. Crude lines, shaky handwriting, but the details were precise. Every turn, every door, every guard post she remembered. "This is it." Thunder tapped the entrance point. Northeast corner, behind the old groundskeeper shed. Spider studied the drawing. "It's not on any blueprint. Because it's pre-war construction. They built over it when they renovated in the 90s. Thunder looked at Sophie through the phone screen. She'd insisted on joining the planning session via video call. Said she needed to see it through. "You're sure about this?" "I'm sure." Sophie's voice was steady, stronger than before. "They caught me 50 yards from the fence, dragged me back through the main entrance, never even mentioned the coal cellar. I don't think Marcus knows it exists." "How'd you find it?" "One of the other girls, Natasha. She'd been there longer than anyone. Heard rumors from a guard who got drunk one night. Talked too much." Sophie paused. "They killed him the next day. Made us all watch." Bear grunted. "These people don't mess around." "No, they don't." Sophie's eyes hardened. "That's why you can't underestimate them. Not for a second." Thunder nodded. "Walk me through it again. Every step." "The coal cellar entrance is hidden under a pile of old landscaping equipment. Rusted wheelbarrows, broken rakes. Nobody goes near it. The door's padlocked, but the lock is ancient. One good hit, and it's done." "Then what?" "Tunnel runs about 40 feet. Comes up in what used to be the boiler room. Now it's storage. Boxes, old furniture. No cameras because there's nothing worth watching. And from there, one door leads to the main basement. That's where they keep the wine. The legitimate storage." Sophie's voice dropped. "Another door, hidden behind a false wall, leads to the staircase going down." Spider whistled. "A false wall. These guys aren't amateurs. Mercer's been running this operation for 15 years. Sophie's voice went flat. "He's had time to get it right." Thunder traced the route with his finger. "So we come up through the coal cellar, go through storage, find the hidden door, and take the stairs down to the 3rd level." "Right. But there's a checkpoint at the bottom. 2 guards, always. They rotate every 4 hours, but they never leave that post empty. We'll handle them quietly. If they radio for backup, you'll have 30 men on you in 60 seconds. "Understood." Thunder looked at his brothers. "Crow and Tommy hit the propane tanks at exactly 9:47. That's when the fireworks start during the gala. Nobody will hear the explosion over the noise." "What about the security station?" Duke asked. "Bear and I take it. Kill the electronic locks. That gives you—" He pointed at Spider and Wrench. "Exactly 3 minutes to get down to the girls and get them moving." 3 minutes isn't much. It's what we've got. Any questions?" Nobody spoke. "Then get ready. We ride in 4 hours." The video call ended. Thunder stared at the map for a long moment. Bear moved to his side. "You think this will work?" "It has to." "That's not what I asked." Thunder was quiet. "Then 50-50. Maybe 60-40 if everything goes right. And if it doesn't, then we improvise. Same as always. Thunder. Bear's voice dropped. I've ridden with you for 30 years, watched you pull off things that shouldn't have been possible. But this is different. This is a sitting senator with federal connections and an army of mercenaries. I know. If we fail, we don't go to prison. We disappear, all of us. Our families too, probably. Thunder turned to face his oldest friend. You want out? Hell no. Just want to make sure you understand what we're risking. I understand. Thunder put a hand on Bear's shoulder. I've never asked you to follow me anywhere I wasn't willing to go first. Tonight's no different. I walk through that door first. If anyone dies, it's me. We go together or not at all. Bear's eyes were wet. He blinked it away. 30 years, Thunder. You think I'm letting you play hero alone after 30 years? Thunder couldn't speak for a moment, just nodded. All right then. He cleared his throat. Let's go save some girls. 4 hours later, 12 motorcycles rolled out of the Iron Horse. No war cries, no revving engines, just the low rumble of machines and the weight of purpose. Thunder led the formation. Bear on his right, Duke on his left. Behind them, the rest of the club in tight V formation. The sun had set an hour ago. The roads were dark. Perfect. They'd split up 2 miles from the estate. Crow and Tommy peeling off toward the propane tanks. Spider and Wrench circling to the service entrance, the rest converging on the coal cellar. Thunder checked his watch. 9:32. 15 minutes. His phone buzzed. Clara. Hey, you there? Almost. Come home, Frank. Whatever happens tonight, you come home. I will. Promise me. I already did. Promise me again. Thunder closed his eyes. I promise, Clara. I'm coming home. I love you. I love you too. He hung up. Killed the engine. The others did the same. Silence. They moved on foot through the trees. No flashlights, no talking, hand signals only. The groundskeeper shed appeared through the darkness, just like Sophie described. Pile of old equipment, rusted metal, forgotten. Thunder found the cellar door, padlock corroded with age. One swing of Bear's hammer and it shattered. The door groaned open. Stale air rushed out. Decades of dust and decay. Thunder clicked on his flashlight, pointed it down. Stone steps, narrow, steep. He went first. The tunnel was exactly 40 feet. He counted every step. The walls pressed close. Claustrophobia clawed at his chest. He pushed it down. Kept moving. The boiler room door was unlocked. He eased it open. Peered through. Empty. Boxes stacked high. Old furniture covered in sheets like ghosts. Thunder stepped through. Bear followed. Then Duke. Then the others. They spread out. Found the false wall. Sophie had described it perfectly. A bookshelf that didn't quite match the others. A crack in the plaster that shouldn't exist. Thunder pressed the hidden latch. The wall swung inward. Stairs going down. His watch read 9:45. 2 minutes. They descended in silence. Thunder's heart pounded in his ears. Sweat trickled down his back despite the cold. At the bottom, a steel door. Keypad lock. Camera above it. Spider. Thunder's voice was barely a whisper. You ready? His earpiece crackled. Ready. On your signal. Thunder looked at Bear. Nodded. They positioned themselves on either side of the door. 9:46. 1 minute. Thunder could hear voices through the steel. 2 men laughing about something. Relaxed. Comfortable. They had no idea what was coming. 9:47. The explosion rocked the ground. Even 3 levels down, Thunder felt it. The walls shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. And then the screaming started. Now! Spider killed the power. The keypad went dark. The camera's red light died. Bear hit the door with everything he had. The lock held. He hit it again. Metal groaned. 3rd time. The door burst inward. 2 guards spun toward them, hands reaching for weapons. Thunder was faster. 2 shots. Center mass. Both men dropped before they could make a sound. Move! They flooded into the corridor. 14 doors. 14 locks. All electronic. All dead. Thunder grabbed the first door. Pulled. A girl stared back at him. 17, maybe. Eyes wide with terror. We're here to help. Come with us. She didn't move. Now, she ran to him, grabbed his arm like a lifeline. Bear was opening doors. Duke, too. The others. Girls poured into the corridor. Some crying. Some screaming. Some too shocked to make any sound at all. Count, Thunder shouted. 4, Duke called. 6, fss, from Bear. 9. 11. Thunder's blood went cold. Where's 14? There should be 14. Last door, Spider pointed. It won't open. Thunder ran. The door had a manual override, a physical lock in addition to the electronic one. He pressed his ear against the metal, heard sobbing inside. Stand back from the door. He aimed at the lock. Fired. The mechanism exploded. The door swung open. A girl huddled in the corner. Smaller than the others. Couldn't be more than 15. It's okay. Thunder holstered his weapon, knelt in front of her. We're getting you out. They said no one would come. Her voice was hollow. They said no one cared. They were wrong. Thunder extended his hand. Come on, let's go home. She took it. 14 girls. All accounted for. Move out. Same way we came. They ran through the corridor, up the stairs, into the boiler room, and that's when everything went wrong. Thunder. Marcus Cole stood in the doorway, gun raised, 10 men behind him. Did you really think it would be that easy? Thunder pushed the girls behind him. His brothers formed a wall in front of them. Let them go, Marcus. They're just kids. They're inventory, and you just stole from a very powerful man. Mercer can find new inventory. These girls are coming with us. Marcus laughed. You've got 12 old men against my best operatives. Do the math. I did. Thunder's voice was steady. You lose. What? The wall behind Marcus exploded. FBI tactical teams poured through. David Chen in the lead. Weapons drawn. Screaming commands. FBI, drop your weapons now. Marcus spun, eyes wide, calculating odds. He had 1 second to make a choice. He chose wrong. His gun came up toward David. Thunder didn't hesitate. The bullet caught Marcus in the shoulder, spun him around. He hit the ground hard. Secure him, David shouted. And get those girls to the medical team. Chaos erupted. FBI agents swarming everywhere. Girls being wrapped in blankets led to safety. Marcus's men throwing down their weapons, surrendering. Thunder stood in the middle of it all, gun still smoking. Bear grabbed his arm. Thunder, we need to move. Now. Where's Mercer? What? The senator. Where is he? David appeared at his side. Upstairs. Main house. My team's heading there now. I'm coming with you. Thunder, you've done enough. Let us handle. He's mine. David stared at him for a long moment, then nodded. Stay behind my team. Don't shoot unless you have to. They ran. Up through the main house, past screaming guests in evening gowns and tuxedos, past security guards already in handcuffs, past chaos and confusion, and the sweet smell of justice finally arriving. Mercer's office was on the 3rd floor. Mahogany doors, gold handles, like something from a movie. The FBI agents hit it with a battering ram. Empty. "He's running," David cursed. "All units, Senator Mercer is mobile. Lock down all exits." Thunder's mind raced. The tunnel, the service road. "I know where he's going." He didn't wait for permission. Just ran. Back down the stairs, through the basement, past the girls still being evacuated, into the tunnel that led to the service road. He could hear footsteps ahead. Running. Panicked. Thunder was 71 years old. His knees screamed. His lungs burned. He ran faster. The tunnel ended at a steel door. It was open. Moonlight streaming through. Thunder burst into the night air. A man in a tuxedo stood by a black sedan, fumbling with keys. Senator Clayton Mercer. Silver hair, distinguished face. The kind of man who smiled for cameras and shook hands with presidents. The kind of man who bought and sold children. "Going somewhere," Mercer spun. His face went white. You're that biker." "Yeah." Thunder raised his gun. "And you're under arrest." "You can't arrest me. You're not a cop." "No, but he is." David emerged from the tunnel breathing hard. Badge out. "Senator Clayton Mercer, you're under arrest for human trafficking, kidnapping, sexual exploitation of minors, and about 40 other charges I'll think of on the way to the station." Mercer's face twisted. All the charm melted away, revealing the monster underneath. "Do you have any idea who I am? I'll destroy you, both of you. I have connections that had." Thunder's voice was ice. "Past tense. Your operation is done. Your guards are in custody. Your clients are being rounded up as we speak." He stepped closer. "And those 14 girls you thought you owned, they're free." Mercer's mouth opened, closed, opened again. No words came out. David stepped forward with handcuffs. "Turn around. Hands behind your back." For a moment, Thunder thought Mercer might run, might fight, might do something stupid. Instead, the senator's shoulders slumped. His whole body seemed to shrink. He turned around. The cuffs clicked shut. "Get him out of here." Thunder holstered his weapon. "I need some air." He walked away from the sedan, from the shouting, from the chaos. Found a tree, leaned against it, let his knees finally give out. He slid down until he was sitting on the cold ground, gun in his lap, hands shaking. It was over. Bear found him 10 minutes later. "There you are." The big man dropped down beside him. "You okay?" "No." Thunder's voice cracked. "I don't think I am." "What's wrong?" "We won. The girls are safe. Mercer's in custody." "I know." Thunder stared at the sky, stars fading as dawn approached. "I just keep thinking, if I'd done this 30 years ago, if I'd paid attention." "Rachel." Thunder nodded. Couldn't speak. Bear was quiet for a long moment. "You can't save everyone, Thunder. You know that." "I know. But I could have saved her, my own daughter, and I didn't. You saved 14 girls tonight. 14 families who won't have to bury their children. That counts for something." "Does it?" "Yeah." Bear put a hand on Thunder's shoulder. "It does." They sat in silence as the sky slowly brightened. Thunder's phone buzzed. Sophie, he answered. Hey, is it over? Her voice was trembling. Clara said she heard on the radio. Is it really over? Thunder looked across the estate. FBI vehicles everywhere. Ambulances loading traumatized girls. News helicopters already circling overhead. Yeah. He let out a breath he'd been holding for 30 years. It's over. Sophie started crying. Not scared crying. Not desperate crying. Relief. Thank you. She could barely get the words out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. We still have a lot of work to do. Trials, testimonies. It's going to be a long road. I don't care. They're free. Those girls are free because of you. Thunder shook his head, even though she couldn't see it. They're free because of you. You're the one who ran. You're the one who told us about the coal cellar. You're the one who trusted us with the truth. Sophie was quiet for a moment. Thunder. Yeah. Can I still come home to you and Clara, even after all this? Thunder's eyes filled with tears. He didn't try to hide them. Kid, you're already home. You just don't know it yet. He hung up. Bear was watching him with something like a smile. What? Nothing. The big man shook his head. Just thinking about second chances. Yeah. Thunder struggled to his feet. His whole body ached. What about them? Maybe they're real. Maybe that's the whole point. Thunder looked at the sunrise, pink and gold spreading across the sky. Maybe it is. They walked back toward the chaos, toward the aftermath, toward whatever came next. Behind them, Senator Clayton Mercer sat in the back of an FBI vehicle. His empire in ruins, his victims finally free. And somewhere in a small house across town, a 21-year-old girl who'd once been property was learning what it meant to belong. 3 weeks felt like 3 years. Thunder sat in the federal courthouse tie, choking his neck, watching Senator Clayton Mercer being led to the defendant's table in shackles. The man who once commanded rooms with a handshake now shuffled like a broken puppet. Clara squeezed his hand. You okay? Ask me after the verdict. Sophie sat on his other side. She'd insisted on being here for every day of the trial. Said she needed to see it through. Needed to watch the monster fall. The prosecutor stood. Young woman. Fierce eyes. She'd spent 3 weeks methodically destroying Mercer's defense. Your Honor, the prosecution calls Sophie Reed to the stand. Thunder felt Sophie's whole body go rigid. You don't have to do this. He kept his voice low. There's enough evidence without your testimony. No. Sophie stood. Her hands trembled, but her voice was steady. I need to. She walked to the witness stand. Raised her right hand. Swore to tell the truth. Thunder had never been more proud of anyone in his life. The prosecutor approached. Miss Reed, can you describe how you came into contact with the defendant's organization? Sophie looked at Mercer. The senator stared back with cold, empty eyes. She didn't flinch. I was recruited outside Eastern Kentucky University. A woman named Patricia Wells approached me. She said she worked for a modeling agency. Said I had the look they wanted. And what happened after you agreed to meet with them? They took me to a house outside Louisville, made me sign paperwork I didn't read. Then they took my phone, my ID, my passport. Sophie's voice cracked slightly. They told me I was now property of the foundation, that I belonged to them. Did you ever see the defendant during your time in captivity? Yes. Can you describe those encounters? Sophie was quiet for a long moment. The courtroom held its breath. Senator Mercer attended several of the parties where we were presented to clients. He would walk through the rooms, inspect us like we were merchandise. Her jaw tightened. He chose me once. Said he liked my eyes. Thunder's fists clenched. Clara grabbed his arm, held him in place. What happened after he chose you? I don't remember most of it. They drugged us before every event. Sophie's voice went hollow. But I remember waking up with bruises. I remember him telling me I should be grateful, that he was going to make me his favorite. The courtroom erupted. Mercer's attorney objected. The judge banged his gavel. Thunder didn't hear any of it. He could only see Sophie's face. The courage it took for her to sit there. To say those words out loud. To face the man who had violated her in ways no one should ever have to describe. The prosecutor continued. Miss Reed, what made you finally escape? I heard them talking about Mexico, about crossing the border. I knew if I didn't run that night, I would never get another chance. Sophie looked directly at the jury. So I threw myself out of a moving van. I ran barefoot through a storm for 3 miles, and I ended up at a bar called the Iron Horse. What happened there? A man asked me a question. 4 words. The simplest question in the world. Sophie's eyes found Thunder. He asked who hurt me, and then he did something about it. Thunder couldn't breathe. The prosecutor finished her questions. Mercer's attorney tried to discredit Sophie, called her testimony unreliable, suggested she was confused, seeking attention. Sophie didn't waver, not once. When she finally stepped down from the stand, Thunder stood up. Didn't care about courtroom protocol, walked right to her and wrapped his arms around her. I'm so proud of you, he whispered. So damn proud. Sophie buried her face in his shoulder. Is it over? Almost. The jury just needs to decide. What if they don't believe me? They believe you. Everyone in this room believes you. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Thunder paced the hallway outside the courtroom. Clara tried to make him sit. He couldn't. Bear called. Any word? Still waiting. The club's watching the news. Everyone's here. Everyone's pulling for her. Tell them I'll call as soon as we know something. Thunder. Bear paused. Whatever happens in there, you did good. You saved those girls. Nothing changes that. I know. Thunder rubbed his eyes. But I need to see him pay. I need to see justice actually work for once. It will. It has to. The courtroom doors opened. A bailiff stepped out. They've reached a verdict. Thunder grabbed Sophie's hand, walked back inside, sat down. Mercer stood at the defendant's table. His expensive lawyers flanked him. But there was something in his eyes now that hadn't been there before. Fear. The jury foreman stood. We, the jury, in the matter of United States versus Clayton James Mercer, find the defendant guilty on all counts. The courtroom exploded. Sophie collapsed against Thunder, sobbing. Clara was crying too. Somewhere behind them, reporters were shouting questions. Mercer stood frozen, his face gray, his hands shaking. The judge banged his gavel. Sentencing will be held in 2 weeks. The defendant is remanded to custody without bail. Guards approached Mercer, started to lead him away. He turned, looked directly at Thunder. For a moment, their eyes locked. Thunder saw rage, hatred, the impotent fury of a man who thought he was untouchable, finally learning the truth. He smiled. Mercer's face twisted. He lunged toward Thunder, but the guards held him back. This isn't over, Mercer screamed. You hear me? This isn't over. I have people everywhere. They'll find you. They'll find that little... The guards dragged him through the side door. His screams echoed down the hallway until a door slammed shut and cut them off. Thunder stood in the silence. Sophie looked up at him. Was he serious? Does he really have people who might? His organization is gone. His money is frozen. His connections are running scared. Thunder cupped her face in his hands. He's got nothing left but empty threats. And you just watched him get convicted on national television. You won. Sophie stared at him, tears streaming down her face. I won. Yeah, kid. You won. She threw her arms around him, held on like she was afraid he might disappear. Thunder held her back, felt Clara's hand on his shoulder, felt the weight of 30 years finally lifting off his chest. They walked out of the courthouse into a crowd of cameras and reporters. Thunder shielded Sophie as best he could. Bear was waiting with a truck. They piled in and drove away from the chaos. Where to? Bear asked. Thunder looked at Sophie, then at Clara. Home. The house smelled like pot roast and fresh bread. Clara had been cooking all day, anticipating the verdict, celebrating before they even knew the outcome. That was Clara, always believing the best would happen. Sophie stood in the doorway, uncertain. Go on. Thunder nudged her forward. You live here now. Remember, I know. It just still feels strange. Sophie stepped inside, ran her hand along the wall. Unreal. Like I'm going to wake up and still be in that basement, still be waiting for someone to come. That's never happening again. Thunder closed the door behind them. You're safe. You're home. And no one is ever going to hurt you again. Sophie turned to face him. You can't promise that. No, but I can promise that I'll spend whatever time I have left making sure of it. Clara appeared from the kitchen, apron on, flour in her hair. She took one look at Sophie's face and opened her arms. Sophie ran to her. Thunder watched them hold each other. Two women who had every reason to be broken, choosing instead to heal. His phone buzzed. David. Saw the verdict. Congratulations. Thanks for making it happen. I didn't do anything. Those girls testified. You gathered the evidence. I just made sure it got to the right people. Still, thank you. There's something else. David's voice changed. Careful. We found something at Mercer's estate, in his personal safe. What? A list, names, addresses. Every client he ever sold a girl to. Politicians, CEOs, foreign diplomats. David paused. It's bigger than we thought, Thunder. A lot bigger. Thunder closed his eyes. How many? Over 200 names, spanning 15 years. Jesus. We're going to need your help. Sophie's too. There are going to be more trials, more testimonies. This is just the beginning. Thunder looked at Sophie, at Clara, at the home they were building together. Whatever you need, we'll be there. I was hoping you'd say that. David exhaled. Get some rest. You've earned it. But stay alert. Mercer's got friends, powerful ones, and they're not going to go down without a fight. Let them come. Thunder hung up, set his phone on the table, walked to the kitchen where Clara was showing Sophie how to check the roast. Everything okay? Clara asked. It will be. Not an answer. No, Thunder smiled. But it's the truth. The doorbell rang. Thunder's hand went to his hip. Old habit. But there was no gun there. Not inside his own house. I'll get it. Bear's voice. He'd been in the living room waiting. Thunder heard the door open, heard voices, familiar ones. Then Bear appeared in the kitchen doorway, grinning. You've got visitors. Thunder walked to the front of the house, stopped dead. 14 girls stood on his porch. Some he recognized from the rescue. Others he'd never seen clearly until now. All of them cleaned up. rested, alive. A woman in a suit stood with them, social worker by the look of her. "Mr. Morrison." "Yeah." "These young women asked to see you. Against my advice, I might add, but they were quite insistent." The smallest girl stepped forward, the one Thunder had found in the last room, the one who'd said no one was coming. "We wanted to thank you." Her voice was small but steady. "All of us. For what you did." Thunder couldn't speak. Another girl stepped up, older, maybe 19. "They told us we were worthless, that nobody cared, that we'd die in those rooms and no one would even notice." A third girl. "You proved them wrong." Thunder felt tears sliding down his cheeks, didn't bother wiping them away. "I didn't do it alone." "We know." The smallest girl reached out, took his hand. "But you were the one who came through that door. You were the one who told me I was going home." Thunder knelt down, eye level with her. "What's your name?" "Lily." "How old are you, Lily?" 15. Thunder's heart broke all over again. 15 years old. Same age Rachel had been when she met the man who would eventually destroy her. "Lily, I need you to listen to me. What happened to you wasn't your fault, none of it, and it doesn't define who you are. You understand?" Lily nodded, tears streaming. "You're going to have hard days, days when you feel like you can't go on, like the darkness is too heavy." Thunder squeezed her hand. "But you're stronger than that darkness. You survived, you're still here. And as long as you're breathing, you've got a chance to build something beautiful." Lily threw her arms around his neck. Thunder held her, held all of them in a way. Every girl he couldn't save. Every victim he'd been too late to protect. "Thank you," Lily whispered. "Thank you for asking who hurt me." Thunder closed his eyes. "Thank you for answering." The girls stayed for an hour, ate Clara's pot roast, laughed at Bear's terrible jokes, played with the cat Sophie had adopted 2 weeks ago. When they left, Sophie stood at the window, watching their vans disappear down the road. "That could have been me." Her voice was quiet. "If I hadn't run, if I hadn't found you." "But you did run. You did find me." Thunder stood beside her. "And that's what matters." "Is it enough?" "What do you mean?" Sophie turned to face him. "We saved 14 girls, but how many others are out there right now, locked in rooms we don't know about, waiting for someone to ask who hurt them?" Thunder was quiet for a long moment. "Too many. That's the honest answer. Too many to count. Too many to save all at once." "Then what do? We save the ones we can. We fight the battles in front of us. And we never stop asking the question, who hurt you?" "Yeah." Thunder nodded. 4 words. That's all it takes sometimes. 4 words and the courage to actually listen to the answer. Sophie looked at him with something new in her eyes, something that hadn't been there before. Purpose. "I want to help. Not just testify at trials. I want to actually do something. Help other girls like me, girls who think no one's coming for them." That's a big commitment. "I know." Sophie's jaw set. "But I'm done being a victim. Done hiding. I want to fight back." Thunder studied her face, saw the fire there, the determination, saw Rachel somehow, the way she might have been if someone had asked the right question in time. "There's an organization, National Network of Safe Houses. They're always looking for survivors who want to help." Thunder pulled out his phone. "I can make some calls, get you connected." "Really? Why not?" "But Thunder." He caught her arm. "This kind of work takes a toll. You'll hear stories that break your heart, see things that keep you up at night. You sure you're ready for that?" Sophie didn't hesitate. I've already lived through the worst thing that can happen to a person. Nothing else can hurt me like that again. Her voice hardened. And if my pain can help even one girl avoid what I went through, then it was worth something. All of it. Thunder smiled. Really smiled. Then let's make some calls. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, Thunder sat on the back porch. Stars scattered across the sky. The world quiet for the first time in weeks. Clara found him there. Can't sleep. Too much in my head. She sat down beside him, took his hand. You did a good thing, Frank. A really good thing. Doesn't feel like enough. It never will. Clara leaned her head on his shoulder. That's what makes you who you are. Always reaching for more. Always trying to save one more person. Rachel would be proud of you. Clara's voice was firm. She'd look at what you did for Sophie, for those girls, and she'd be so proud. Thunder's chest tightened. You really think so? I know so. She loved you, Frank. Even when things were hard. Even when you couldn't see what was happening to her, she never stopped loving you. I failed her. You were human. Humans fail. It's what we do after that matters. Clara lifted her head, met his eyes. And you've spent 18 years making up for it. Saving women. Protecting families. Building something good out of something terrible. Thunder stared at her. This woman who'd stood beside him through everything. Through Rachel's death. Through the grief that nearly destroyed him. Through 30 years of late nights and dangerous missions, and never quite knowing if he'd come home. I love you. I know, Clara smiled. Now come to bed. Tomorrow's a new day, and I have a feeling it's going to be a good one. Thunder let her pull him to his feet. Behind them, through the kitchen window, he could see Sophie asleep on the couch. The cat curled up on her chest. A book fallen open beside her. Safe. Home. Family. Thunder followed Clara inside, locked the door behind him. Tomorrow there would be more battles, more trials, more girls to save. But tonight, he had everything he needed. And for the first time in 30 years, that was enough. 6 months changed everything. Sophie stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the collar of her new blazer. Professional. Sharp. Nothing like the torn dress she'd worn the night she stumbled into the Iron Horse. You ready? Clara called from the hallway. Almost. The car is waiting. Thunder's already threatening to leave without you. Sophie smiled. He wouldn't dare. She grabbed her briefcase. New leather. A gift from Bear for her first day. Inside were files, case studies, resources for the girls she'd be working with starting today. The National Survivor Alliance had hired her 2 months ago, youngest outreach coordinator in their history. Her job was simple. Find girls like her, girls trapped in situations they couldn't escape. Girls who'd stopped believing anyone was coming, and ask them one question. Who hurt you? Thunder was waiting by his truck, arms crossed, pretending to be impatient. But his eyes softened when he saw her. Look at you, all grown up. I was already grown up. No. Thunder opened the passenger door. You were surviving. Now you're living. There's a difference. They drove in comfortable silence. Sophie watched the trees blur past. Spring had finally arrived. Everything blooming. Everything new. Nervous? Thunder asked. Terrified. Good. Means you care. What if I mess up? What if I say the wrong thing and make someone's situation worse? Thunder pulled the truck to the side of the road, turned to face her. Listen to me. You're not going to be perfect. Nobody is. You're going to make mistakes. say things you wish you hadn't, miss signs you should have caught. That's supposed to make me feel better. I'm not finished. Thunder's voice gentled. But here's what matters. You're going to show up, every single day. You're going to look at girls who think they're invisible and let them know they're not. You're going to sit with them when they cry, fight for them when they can't fight for themselves. And sometimes, maybe not always, but sometimes you're going to save a life. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. How do you know? Because that's who you are. That's who you've always been. Thunder reached over, squeezed her hand. The night you walked into my bar, you'd already survived more than most people face in a lifetime. You ran when running felt impossible. You trusted when trust had been beaten out of you. You lived. I almost didn't, but you did, and now you get to help others do the same thing. Thunder smiled. That's not just a job, Sophie, that's a calling. Sophie wiped her eyes, took a deep breath. Okay, let's do this. Thunder pulled back onto the road. The National Survivor Alliance office was in a converted warehouse downtown. Sophie had been here a dozen times for training, but today felt different. Today, she had a badge, a desk, a purpose. Thunder walked her to the door. I'll pick you up at 6. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. Thunder hugged her, quick but fierce. Go save the world, kid. I'll settle for one person at a time. That's how it starts. Sophie watched him drive away, then turned and walked through the doors. Her supervisor, Denise, was waiting. 50-something. Sharp eyes. 20 years of experience in the field. Ready for your first case? Sophie's heart jumped. Already? No time like the present. Denise handed her a file. 17-year-old, name's Maria, got picked up by police last night in a raid on a massage parlor. She's not talking to anyone. Won't eat, won't sleep, just sits there staring at the wall. Where is she now? Safe house on Maple Street. She's been there since 3 a.m. Does she know I'm coming? She knows someone's coming. Whether she'll talk to you. Denise shrugged. That's up to her. Sophie looked at the file. Maria Gonzalez, 17. Last known address, a motel room rented by a man 3 times her age. I'll go now. Sophie. Denise caught her arm. This one's going to be hard. She's been through a lot. Don't push too hard too fast. I know. Do you? Because I've seen new coordinators burn out in their first month, trying to save everyone at once. Sophie met her eyes. I was her Denise. 6 months ago, I was sitting in a room just like hers, convinced no one was ever going to come. Then someone did. Someone asked me 4 words that changed my life. She tucked the file under her arm. That's all I'm going to do. Ask, and listen. Denise studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Go. Call me if you need backup. The safe house was quiet. A volunteer led Sophie down a hallway to a small room at the back. Maria sat on the edge of a bed, knees pulled to her chest. Dark hair, dark eyes, bruises visible on her arms, even from the doorway. Sophie knocked on the open door. Maria didn't look up. Can I come in? Nothing. Sophie entered anyway. Sat down in a chair across from the bed. Not too close, not too far. My name's Sophie. I'm with the National Survivor Alliance. Maria's eyes flickered. Just briefly. Then back to the wall. I'm not a cop. Not a lawyer. Not a social worker. Sophie leaned forward slightly. I'm just someone who went through something similar. And survived. Maria's jaw tightened. Still not looking. You don't have to talk to me. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But I'm going to sit here for a while. If that's okay, just in case you change your mind. Silence. Sophie waited. 5 minutes. 10. 15. Maria didn't move. Didn't speak. Sophie was about to try a different approach when Maria's voice came out. Barely a whisper. Why are you here? Because someone needs to be. Nobody cares about girls like me. I do. Maria finally looked at her, eyes full of suspicion, and underneath that something else. Hope. Barely there, but present. Why you don't know me? No. Sophie shook her head. But I know what it's like to feel invisible, to think no one's coming, to believe you deserve what's happening to you. She paused. I know because 6 months ago I was in a van being transported to Mexico. I jumped out because I didn't want to die that way. Ran through a storm until I found a bar full of bikers who looked like they'd rather kill me than help me. Maria's eyes widened slightly. What happened? One of them asked me a question. 4 words. Simplest question in the world. Sophie leaned forward. Who hurt you? Maria's breath caught. And when I told him, he didn't doubt me, didn't ask what I did to deserve it, didn't tell me to calm down or think rationally. Sophie's voice softened. He just listened, and then he did something about it. Tears were sliding down Maria's cheeks now. She didn't seem to notice. Nobody's ever asked me that. Then let me be the first. Sophie reached out, not touching, just offering. Maria, who hurt you? The dam broke. Maria collapsed into Sophie's arms, sobbing. Words poured out, names, dates, places, the man who'd recruited her, the clients who'd used her, the threats that kept her silent. Sophie held her through all of it, just like Thunder had held her that first night. When Maria finally went quiet, exhausted, Sophie pulled back. We're going to help you, not just me. A whole team of people who do this every day. We're going to get you somewhere safe, help you rebuild, and if you want, we're going to make sure the people who did this to you never do it to anyone else. Maria stared at her. You really think that's possible? I know it is, because I'm living proof. Maria was quiet for a long moment. Then slowly she nodded. Okay. Her voice was small but steady. I'll trust you. For now. Sophie smiled. That's all I'm asking. She stayed with Maria for another hour, got her to eat something, introduced her to the volunteer who'd be with her overnight, promised to come back tomorrow. When she finally walked out of the safe house, the sun was setting. Her phone buzzed. Thunder. How'd it go? She talked to me. Yeah. Sophie's voice cracked. Thunder, she's 17, she's been through hell. And when I asked who hurt her, she just opened up. Like no one had ever asked before. That's because no one had. Thunder's voice was rough. You did good, kid. Real good. It doesn't feel like enough. It never does. But you showed up. You asked the question. You listened. Thunder paused. That's how it starts. One person at a time. That's what you said this morning. Because it's true. Every big change starts small. Every revolution begins with one person deciding to give a damn. Thunder cleared his throat. Now get your ass back here. Clara's making dinner, and the whole club is coming over. Why? Because it's been 6 months since that night, and we're celebrating. Celebrating what? Family, second chances, the fact that you're still here. Thunder's voice softened. The fact that we all are. Sophie wiped her eyes. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Make it 15. Bear's already eyeing the brisket. She laughed. On my way. The house was chaos when Sophie arrived. Motorcycles in the driveway, music pouring through the windows, voices overlapping in a symphony of laughter and argument. She walked through the front door into a wall of warmth. There she is. Bear's voice boomed across the room. The woman of the hour. I just started. I haven't done anything yet. You showed up. That's everything. Bear wrapped her in a hug that lifted her off her feet. Proud of you, kid? Duke was next, then Crow, then Tommy, then everyone else, one by one, welcoming her home. Clara pulled her into the kitchen. How was it really? Hard, amazing, terrifying? Sophie shook her head. I don't have words. You don't need them. Clara hugged her. You just need to keep showing up. The rest figures itself out. Thunder found her on the back porch after dinner. The party was still going strong inside, but Sophie had needed air. Mind if I join you? It's your house. It's our house. Thunder sat down beside her. Has been since the day you walked through that door. Sophie stared at the stars. Same sky she'd run under 6 months ago. Same darkness. But everything else was different. I can't believe this is my life now. Which part? All of it. Having a home. Having people who... She trailed off. A family. Sophie nodded. Couldn't speak. You know what I was doing 6 months ago? Thunder's voice was quiet. Sitting in that bar, drinking cold coffee, wondering if anything I'd done in my life actually mattered, wondering if I'd ever stop seeing Rachel's face every time I closed my eyes. And now I see your face, and Clara's, and those 14 girls we pulled out of that basement, and Maria, whoever she is, whose life you started changing today. Thunder turned to look at her. You gave me something I thought I'd lost forever, Sophie. What? Purpose, hope, a reason to keep fighting. I didn't do anything. You're the one who saved me. Thunder shook his head. No, I just asked a question. You saved yourself. You ran. You trusted. You survived. He paused. Everything that's happened since then. That's all you. Sophie was crying now. Didn't try to stop it. I used to think I was broken, beyond repair, that the things they did to me had destroyed whatever I was supposed to become. She wiped her eyes. And now I think maybe broken isn't the same as finished. Maybe the cracks are where the light gets in. Maybe everything I went through happened so I could help other people going through the same thing. That's a hell of a perspective for a 21-year-old. I had good teachers. Thunder smiled. Really smiled. Come on. They're about to cut the cake. There's cake. Clara made your favorite. Chocolate with raspberry filling. She remembered. She remembers everything. That's her superpower. Thunder stood, offered his hand. Let's go. Your family's waiting. Sophie took his hand, followed him inside. The cake was perfect. The speeches were terrible. Duke cried during his. Bear pretended something was in his eye. Tommy told a story that made Clara threaten to kick him out. And through all of it, Sophie sat at the center, surrounded by people who'd chosen her, who'd fought for her, who'd shown her what family really meant. When the party finally wound down, when the last motorcycle rumbled away into the night, Sophie found herself alone in the living room. Thunder and Clara had gone to bed. The house was quiet. The cat was asleep on the couch. Sophie walked to the mantel, looked at the photos there. Thunder and Clara's wedding. Bear with his grandkids. Duke's daughter at her college graduation. And in the center, a new frame added just last week. Sophie and Thunder standing in front of the iron horse, both smiling, both whole. She touched the frame, traced the edges. 6 months ago, she'd been property, inventory, a commodity to be bought and sold and discarded. Now she was a daughter, a sister, a warrior. Now she was home. The front door creaked open behind her. Sophie spun, heart jumping. Lily stood in the doorway, the 15-year-old from the basement, the one who'd said no one was coming. "Lily, what are you doing here?" "I ran away from my foster home." Lily's voice was small, scared. "I didn't know where else to go." Sophie crossed the room in 3 strides, pulled her inside, closed the door. "What happened?" "The father, he started—" Lily couldn't finish. "He started looking at me, the way they used to look at me." Sophie's blood went cold. "I couldn't stay there. I couldn't let it happen again." Sophie held her, felt the tremors running through her body. "You're safe now. You hear me? You're safe. Can I stay here, please, just for tonight?" Sophie looked at this girl, this child who'd been through the same hell she had, who'd found the courage to run, just like Sophie had run 6 months ago. "You can stay as long as you need." She led Lily to the couch, wrapped her in a blanket, made her tea. Thunder appeared in the hallway, drawn by the voices. "What's going on?" "This is Lily, from the rescue. She needs a place to stay." Thunder looked at Lily, at Sophie, at the way they were holding on to each other. "Guest room's already made up. Clara was going to wash the sheets tomorrow, but they're clean." Sophie caught his eye. "Thank you." "Don't thank me. This is what we do." Thunder turned back toward the bedroom, paused. "Sophie. Yeah, you're going to be great at this job. I already knew it. But tonight, watching you with her—" He shook his head. "You're already better than anyone I've ever seen." He disappeared down the hall. Sophie turned back to Lily. The girl's eyes were already closing. Exhausted. Safe for the first time in weeks. "I've got you," Sophie whispered. "You're safe now. I've got you." The same words Thunder had said to her that first night, the same promise she would spend the rest of her life keeping. She sat with Lily until the girl fell asleep. Then she covered her with another blanket, turned off the light, walked to her own room. Tomorrow there would be phone calls, social workers, paperwork, the endless machinery of trying to save one more child. But tonight, Lily was safe. Tonight, Sophie was home. Tonight the question had been asked again. Who hurt you? And someone had listened to the answer. Sophie lay down in her bed, stared at the ceiling. 6 months ago she'd been running for her life. Now she was building one. 6 months ago she trusted no one. Now she had a family. 6 months ago she'd been invisible. Now she was a light in the darkness, guiding others to safety. Tomorrow would bring new battles, new girls to save, new questions to ask. But tonight she would rest. Tonight she would dream of second chances. And tomorrow she would wake up and do it all over again. Because that's what family does. That's what survivors do. That's what love looks like when it refuses to give up. Sometimes the heroes we need aren't the ones we expect. They're not wearing capes or carrying badges. They're old veterans in leather vests who've lost too much. They're 21-year-old survivors who refuse to stay silent. They're 15-year-old girls who find the courage to run. They're ordinary people who choose to ask one simple question. Who hurt you? And then stay to hear the answer. That's where healing begins. That's where justice starts. That's where family is forged, not in blood, not in paperwork, but in the moment someone sees your pain and refuses to look away. One question, 4 words, a lifetime of healing. Ask it, listen, and never stop fighting for those who cannot fight for themselves. That is the beginning and the end. That is the whole point.